Hoopers, are your knees tight or your quads super tight? We're gonna go over the top 3 stretches to improve your quad flexibility to decrease that feeling of tightness in your knee. What's good, Hoopers? My name is Dr. Marco Lopez, Doctor of Physical Therapy and Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist, and co-founder of the Basketball Doctors alongside with Dr. Gabe Ignacio. The Basketball Doctors, our goal is to empower the basketball community with evidence-based information regarding all things basketball. This is all for educational purposes, not medical advice. If you need medical advice, seek out a healthcare professional or send us a message or jump on a free discovery call so we can see how we can help you. But let's jump into the topic on the top 3 stretches to improve your quad flexibility. So before we go into the quad flexibility, we got to talk about what is the quad. So the quad has 4 muscles. We have the rectus femoris muscle, then we have the vasti medialis, vasti lateralis, and vasti intermedialis. These all quad muscles, they all insert to the quad tendon, which goes into the kneecap, which then goes into the patellar tendon, into the tibia tuberosity. So the quad muscle, there's 3 of them. The vasti group, which we talked about, vasti medialis, lateralis, and intermedialis, they all just do more than knee extension, so you just stretch it out by bending the knee. However, the rectus femoris goes from the top of the hip all the way to the kneecap. So that muscle goes all the way from the hip to the kneecap, so you have to be stretching it not only here, but also at the hip. So the quad muscles do just extension, the 3 of them. The last one does extension, and it does some of that hip flexion as well. So in order to stretch it, we have to go into hip extension, and we also have to stretch this out at the knee, so flexion. Now that you guys have a good grasp of the anatomy of it, the reason why that flexibility is huge is because, as we mentioned, a lot of the issues that people deal with, especially with Osgood-Schlatter's or patellofemoral pain syndrome, sometimes even jumper's knee. Jumper's knee is more loaded in tendon, but we've seen decreased flexibility of the knee. So if we have decreased flexibility, that's going to increase that stress in that kneecap on this joint here. And also what we've seen is, let's say after any surgery or anything, we see the lack of knee flexion end range. So these are good little stretches that you could do to decrease that stress. So now that we kind of talked about that, let's jump into the top 3 stretches that you got to be doing to decrease that quad tightness.
All right, the first stretch is the Bretzel Stretch. So we're going to bring up the right leg to lock out our lumbar spine and pelvis. You're going to reach back and rotate your spine to grab the left leg, and you're going to be stretching out your left quad and hip flexor here, so more of that rectus femoris. Really breathe into it and you should feel a good stretch through your quad and hip flexor. The next stretch is a couch stretch. So what you're going to do is you're going to prop your left leg onto a couch, bench, or sofa. You're going to do a little posterior pelvic tilt and lean forward so you feel a nice good stretch in that quad muscle. If you want to bias more of the 3 muscles that don't cross the hip joint, you're just going to lean back and feel that good quad stretch. If you want to bias more of the rectus femoris, you're going to do a really good posterior pelvic tilt, neutral spine, lean the hips forward so you get more of a hip flexor stretch and more of an upper quad stretch. Again, kind of mess around with it and feel where you feel the most tightness. Again, you could bias the quad, the bulk of the muscle, or up in the hip flexor. The final stretch is called the reverse Nordic stretch. It's a pretty advanced and active quad stretch. So what you're going to do is you're going to go kneeling on the ground, get your toes tucked underneath you. You're just going to lean back. You might already feel a quad stretch there closer to the knee. If you want to advance this stretch, what you're going to do is you're going to do a posterior pelvic tilt, engage your glutes, and lift the hips up towards the ceiling, keeping a straight plank. You might feel that more in the hip flexor and upper quad like that rectus femoris, or if you just want to lean back, you might feel a good quad stretch in the bulk of the muscle belly. So kind of play around with it and see what works for you.
All right, guys, hopefully you guys found these top 3 stretches for quad flexibility helpful. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, and share with your friends and family. And we are the Basketball Doctors. Let's ball for life.